Growlers fans, and welcome back to the Doghouse off-season edition. For the first time ever, Chris Ballard joined by Brady Reed and Kyle Curtis here, and we just wanted to get on with you guys here today and break the silence. It is the off-season after all, and after a couple of dead weeks, everyone enjoying their off-season, I think it's time to start looking ahead to what's going to be the Growlers' fifth anniversary season into the ECHL, and I know we're going to get into all the details. But first ever for the Doghouse, we've got a couple of special guests on the line with us, and look at a buys. Look of them. Luke Cavallin, Growler goaltender, and Jonny Tychonick joining us live on the Doghouse. Boys, thanks for joining us here. Luke, I'm going to jump right in with you. Where are you guys right now? Where have we caught you guys?
Right now, I'm just in Ottawa. Got back from Toronto after camp and spending most of the summer back here.
Nice. And what about you, JT? Where are we?
I'm in Calgary right now. First time in a while, so it feels good.
Nice. So, boys, yeah, before we start asking you about your golf games and all that, I guess, fresh off of development camp, indeed, sum up camp for us. JT, we'll start with you.
Long, hard days. A lot of seminars, a lot of sleeping. But it was such a great experience, like meeting so many different people and getting familiar with like all the staff and stuff was super important. So, and just spending time with future teammates as well.
Yeah, no kidding. Was that your first dev camp experience?
First Toronto dev camp.
Sure. Well, how was that maybe different from something else that you might have experienced before? Like, or was it really any different?
It was more like, I'd say professional on the way that they handled it. It's the Toronto Maple Leafs. So like they just,
that's a fact.
Everything was like bang on perfect.
And Luke, what about you? I know this one wasn't your first. I mean, how was this experience maybe say different from last year?
Yeah, well, last year was my first dev camp experience at all. I thought it was great, and I thought this year was just another level. I thought the way they organized it was really top tier. Like the way it was structured throughout the week was good with the goalie sessions and the practices, and then we had a day off, which was nice. We got to do some team bonding stuff, which was really cool. And yeah, the excursions were awesome, and yeah, you see the aquarium there, which is cool too. So yeah, I thought throughout the week it was really good.
Yeah, no, it seemed like a good balance of fun. And, Jonny touched on the professionalism, which is no surprise to anybody who follows this organization. But maybe just if either one of you guys want to jump in on, how helpful it was to have another Growler teammate there to kind of go through this experience together.
Yeah, it was nice.
Go ahead, Cavi.
Okay, sure. Yeah, last year coming in, it was my first year and didn't really know anyone there. And then you get to know some people throughout the season, and then you make some familiar faces there. So having Jonny there was awesome. Obviously, we were roommates with the Growlers last year, so we had a bit of chemistry.
Yeah, a couple mansion boys, yeah.
Throughout the year.
No, we were road roommates.
Oh, road roomies. Oh. Yeah, Jonny, if you want to hop in and just, like I said, maybe chat about, having Luke there, and also, I assume other guys there have to be asking you guys about your Newfoundland experience, right?
Yeah, there was lots of people asking what it was like, just because it's so far away.
That's fair.
But yeah, no, having Cavi there was elite. I was so excited to see him. I told him that before going. It just helps kind of like make you feel comfortable knowing somebody. You don't have to build a bunch of new relationships, and like he knows some other guys that he played against growing up, and I was able to meet them as well, and just built new relationships.
Boys, I'm curious. I don't know if I've ever asked anyone this question. What state is your game in when you go to dev camp? Like, is this the first time you've been on the ice since May with the Growlers, or is this the camp that you use to ramp it up, or are you kind of expected to be kind of tip top? Kind of what state are we all at when we come to a camp like this?
So after the season, I really didn't take much time off. I felt good, and I was still enjoying playing, and I wanted to keep training. So I took about a week off, like 2 weeks before dev camp. But other than that, I was still on the ice and stuff. And I felt pretty fresh. And since dev camp, I'm taking time off now, and this is kind of middle of the summer to break it up for the season. But yeah, going into dev camp, it's kind of like a benchmark. You want to be at like top of your performance and show off your game. So yeah, trying to be in the best shape possible and use it to work on the game as well. But you want to go in there prepared.
Yeah, so I seen you guys got to have a bit of fun up there by going to like the aquarium and go-karting and stuff like that. What was that experience like?
The aquarium was actually.
I love the go-karting.
Sorry.
Gabby sucked.
That's what I wanted to get into. You will get into the experience, but yeah, who's the faster racer and why? We need some insight here. This is the hard-hitting stuff we need this off season.
Cabby was a little tentative. He was on his heels behind the wheel.
He wasn't tentative at the touch tank though. I seen that video. He was halfway in there. He was almost swimming.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. I guess my like kind of the wheels were turning in my brain. You know, if we were to do a version of this in Newfoundland, like I know, especially for you, Jonny, your time was short here, but anything stick out like that'd be a good icebreaker for the boys here in the fall if we were to do our own little, I guess, day camp version of a mini camp?
Like, sorry, what do you mean by that?
Like if, you know, if we were to do
we were to do excursions
Growlers
with the
field trip.
Growlers in the same way that the Leafs just did it with Dev Camp, what do you think would draw people? I think that's the question. Brady's trying to ask.
You know, is there like a trail or like a certain, you know, restaurant we need to hit?
Or let's get out fishing. Like, what do you think would be some cool stuff?
Definitely a hike.
Yeah.
I would go probably like, I mean, Signal Hill is pretty normal for people who haven't been out there.
Yeah.
Cav, what was the one that we went to with? And we had ski and stuff up there.
I think it was Red Cliff.
That checks out.
There.
That one was
really
pretty cool. Saw like a military like hut or whatever, like for scouting the ocean and stuff.
Yeah, I seen like the Vancouver Canucks did like I don't know, they looked like they were scaling Whistler and some of the boys were struggling, but I don't know, the East Coast Trail I feel like is a safe bet for guys who are not from here, and it seemed like that was a good way for you guys. Like I know you mentioned it was nice to have a buddy there, but it's a good way to break the ice, I got to assume, right, with some new faces.
Yeah, I was gonna say
100%.
It would be good to go to see icebergs or go out fishing, deep sea fishing. Those are two things that I want to do, or even go whale watching.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think the season might work for some of that. So we'll have to pitch that by Kenny here, see if we can get the boys out. But I have to ask too, and not to dwell on the, I guess, little bit of negative history we had with the Growlers last season, but now that the dust has settled, I guess, after our unfortunate departure from the Kelly Cup playoffs, what are your major, I guess, takeaways? Maybe Luke, we'll start with you. I know that's a gut-wrenching way for your season to end, but you know, I think we can see the forest for the trees now. I mean, that was a heck of a year to have with the Growlers. Kind of what was your main takeaway, I guess, from your first pro season?
Yeah, I still don't think the dust is settled, if I'm being honest with you.
Really?
I think that just you bring that up stirred up some emotion. So throughout the year it was awesome. Like, it was a great experience and really enjoyed my first year there. And I think the goal throughout the whole season was to win a championship, because I feel like we had the team to do it. So not doing that was a takeaway from the season, but overall it was still a really good experience. I love my time there the last year. So I don't have enough good things to say about the Growlers and my time. So,
we love hearing that.
And
Jonny, what about you? I know you had a little less of an experience, only joining us kind of for the home stretch here, but from every conversation I feel like I've had with you, you got the most out of your time with us.
Yeah, 100%. It was unreal. From like the first weekend in Florida was an absolute treat. And I just loved everything about it. I loved the travel. I loved meeting the new guys. It was just such a close team. So it really made it easy for me to like come in and be a part of the team right away, even though joining so late. And it sucked. It really sucked to lose. Like I thought, like I would tell my mom after we were down 2-0 against Florida, I was like, I could not be less worried. You know, like it's just the team that we have, and we're gonna come back and win this. And when we didn't, it was just like devastating. But it really helped me like become what I needed to do to be successful.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing, is just joining a new team, having that first pro experience, and meeting all these new guys that I love to be around.
Yeah, what a way to be introduced to the pro game. Hey, Casey,
Yeah,
you
I
got
know.
something?
Yeah, you joined the season late and came in and made a big impact. And you know, in your first like season with us, like in the playoffs, you scored that huge double overtime goal and electrified the Mary Brown Center more than I've ever
That
seen.
might
it
be
before in
my
life.
favorite moment
Yeah,
of the year.
for
I'm
sure.
just curious again, maybe
Yeah.
to further to KC's point, where do you think that's going to end up on your, I guess, personal highlight reel at the end of your career? Maybe. I mean, you don't get too many opportunities to score goals like that. I don't care what level you're at. Like that's going to stay with you, man.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool goal. Probably one of the coolest ones I've ever scored. It just, a lot of emotion took over after it, and I don't know, like it was just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, what more do you
Thank God
say about
Cabby
your own
saved all
goal,
those
right?
pills, or that would have been an opportunity for me.
That's true. Yeah. But you can't take the Jack Hughes celly away from you. That was cold.
Yeah.
Oh, elite.
Elite. Made for a hell of a pitcher. Obviously the on ice memories are, you know, they like, and the guys in the room, that's obviously what you guys miss. But is there anything out that, like, you guys are 6 weeks out now from being in Newfoundland? Is there anything in particular that you can think of that's not necessarily hockey related that you might miss a little bit about the province now?
I like that question.
Either one of you.
Cabby?
Yeah, I had a lot of good experience last year.
Yeah.
We lived at what we call the mansion, so there's about 6 to 8 of the boys in there at the time, and we had a great time there. It was an awesome experience, and just being with those guys, like Jonny said, we had such a good group. So I really found that every moment was special with that team, because no matter where we're at, what we're doing, like everyone was having a really good time. And obviously St. John's is an amazing city to be. Like I said, like going on the trail or wherever, any excursion we do was awesome. So yeah, I think the group was the biggest thing. So I just miss the boys right now.
Yeah. Anything to add to that, Jonny?
Yeah, I'll miss the hiking.
Yeah.
George Street. Golf. We went golfing one time, elite course.
Nice.
Where'd you play?
The food.
Yeah, the food.
The food's
I don't
where
know
it's
the
at.
course.
You don't know the course. I have to ask
Cabby and
you,
I would go to
I know you're.
sushi and Manor.
Yeah, I know. Fair. Those are good shouts. With regards to golf, I know that's a big part of your downtime, your off season. Yeah, I know you said you're in Calgary right now. Is there a course that like you're hoping to hit this summer that maybe you haven't before, or what's your home track? How does that look?
Yeah, so my dad is a member at a course 5 minutes away.
Okay.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. But one course that I really want to hit up is like Banff Springs or Kananaskis.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Beautiful
I don't know
course.
if you've heard about those.
Yes, we don't have
Like in the mountains, like beautiful. So it's like,
Yeah, we don't have
Those
a
kinda are
Banff
the real deal.
Springs equivalent in St. John's. I
Now
don't
let's
think.
give Terra Nova some
Yeah.
credit here. Let's give Twin Rivers a little
sorry.
tug here.
yeah,
No, and
yeah.
for me,
but
my
Banff Springs is just a different animal.
oh
No,
no,
yeah,
there's
that's
nothing,
fair.
almost nothing like it in this country. We don't have that. But my question is for Luke. Now, Luke, throughout this season, I've learned you to be a bit of a gearhead with your equipment. That is, now here we are in the off season. That's got to mean new season, new gear, right? That's got to have you fired up.
Yeah, it's awesome. Every time I get new gear, it's literally like Christmas. I think that's the best thing ever. And I like to play with fresh gear too. Like go as many times as I can, get new gear, and yeah, so that's the best feeling ever.
No kidding. What
this
are we
summer
looking
I
at
haven't-
this year? Is it going to be much different than last year?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I like that set of pads that I finished with. I'm looking into maybe doing a custom graphic and working on new map right now. But I'm not sure what it's going to look like. It's still kind of together. But I think the specs and everything are going to be the same as how I finished last season. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the look's going to be like.
And if you can, so I know a lot of goalies are very, I don't want to say protective of their gear, but they're a lot like you. They really take it seriously. How can you share how many sets of gear do you go through in a year? Because I know you in particular, I was trying to help out a season ticket holder who was actually trying to purchase a set of your gear, and you were like, "Oh yeah, I have like 10 sets." So I don't know I'm going to be much help to you. Like I was surprised at that.
Yeah, Marlies were great with that. So they are awesome sending gear whenever you need, and they really take care of you. So that was awesome for me last year. And I think last year I went through 4 sets, and each set was with 2 pairs of gloves. So yeah, it was great, and I felt good all the time. So that's the biggest thing.
Oh, I agree. Well, there you go, goalie geeks. That one's for you, fellas. Anything else for the boys here while we have them before we let them off to their respective Ontario and Alberta sunshine?
I'm just gonna jump in here, and like we heard, like Johnny's a big golfer. I'm just wondering, Luke, what are you doing here in the summer to keep yourself busy?
I'm trying to work on my golf game, to be honest. I'm not playing at any of the nicest courses. I'm playing in an easy open course. It's very forgiving, and just trying to work on my game a little bit here so I can beat Jonny when we play against each other.
Yeah,
I love that.
I would say, Cavi, just start at the pitch and putt, play the long game.
Yeah,
Work your way
Yeah,
up,
strokes
eh?
are saved around the green, my friend.
nail
That's
that-
what I'm told.
No, nail that short game down for sure. Steer clear of the tornadoes. It's a wild time in Ottawa, and for Jonny,
yeah.
if you can get to the Stampede, I've heard great things. You know, as you said, you haven't been to Calgary in a while, so enjoy your downtime, boys.
Yeah.
That's what I would
Stampede is
recommend.
elite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe I'll come out and join you. Well, boys, really, I do appreciate your time today, Luke Cavallin and Jonny Tychonick. And if we don't see you back here again, which we hope we never do, hopefully it's all onward and upward for you two, boys. We appreciate everything you've done for the Growlers and everything for us here this afternoon. And give them heck this season, wherever that may be.
Awesome. Thank you
very
guys so
guys.
much.
Pleasure.
It's unreal.
Cheers, fellas.
Thanks,
For coming
guys.
on.
Here we go, boys. Jonny Tychonick and Luke Cavallin. And I don't think we could have picked like better guys to start this with. Just easygoing fellas that just makes for a great conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like the kind of like two guys who kind of define, I think, the blueprint of last year's team a little
Yeah.
bit. Young,
High
like,
end.
Yeah, and like they get every element of the developmental league, the media, the on ice freaks in the gym, working out, just like well-rounded. And
Normally, guys that well-rounded don't play in the ECHL an awful lot.
correct.
That's
and like,
why I said what I said. I mean, I don't know. I don't expect either of the boys back this season. I think it would be what a gift it would be.
No.
But maybe that can kind of lead into, we're going to keep chatting with you folks here for a little bit here. We still have some stuff to talk about, but maybe we can lead in with some of that. I mean, those guys both under contract, if I'm not mistaken, with the Marlies this season.
Yeah.
Both, for my money, expected to graduate. You think that's fair
for
to say?
sure. Yeah, I think, like you said, they're two young guys, and last year they proved that they belong here, and they belong in the higher league with the Marlies.
I think so.
I think if we see them back here, I'll be very surprised. But if they come back, we'll take them.
No, that's where I'm at. The only question mark I maybe have, I think the crease is always so crowded in Toronto's system. So, like, I'm not sure about that. But, I mean, Jonny Tychonick looked like a guy who should spend no time in the ECHL.
No, I 100% agree. And the point about you said about the goaltending, I mean,
That's nothing against Luke either. It's just the competition is so deep.
I think, like, if you look at Petrozelli's previous season, is a
great
good
point.
example. He signs an NHL deal. You've got to be thinking, like, we'll never see him again. And he did. He
was here.
played enough games to be eligible for the playoffs. Ended up sticking it out with the Marlies. But it just goes to show you how competitive that position is, how overloaded it is, which creates
Joseph
good,
Wall's been
good goalies.
a beast for them too up in the Marlies. So
point. That's
it's
true,
hard,
too.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see him hopefully take another step with the Maple Leafs this year. I want him to be a bit of a regular, but we could talk. That's the beauty of this part of the season too, or the off season, is there's really so much to talk about. So we'll try and keep it Growlers focused here.
Sure.
Speaking of which, we know it's been a little while since we've seen these guys, but a couple of Growlers moving on to earn NHL contracts with other clubs. Noel Hoffenmeyer with Edmonton and Mark Johnstone with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Kyle Dubas connection obviously playing a key role there, but huge congrats to the boys. Clearly, what do you make of those signings? I don't know if I was necessarily expecting that, but I'm not surprised by either.
No, I think they both took two very different paths to get to the NHL. While they both started with the Growlers, like Johnstone coming from the NCAA.
Yeah.
I think is he 27 now?
He's not the
26?
youngest.
No. So like if he gets in an NHL game as a rookie, like that's a heck of a story. I mean, Hoff had that OHL pedigree. I think he was maybe defenseman of the year last year in the OHL.
He was, and he was an American League All-Star this year. So this just feels like the next rung of the ladder for Hoff.
Yeah, so it's not like I don't want to make it out as like he had that natural pathway and Johnstone wasn't unsung, but like out of camp in Johnstone's first year as a Growler, like he was just happy to be playing as a regular in the ECHL.
Yeah. And
quite literally less than 2 years later. I mean, I've seen articles from The Athletic and that sort of thing. Like they have him penciled in as like the 13th forward for the Penguins. So,
and even speaking with some of my colleagues around the hockey world about kind of where he might fit in.
Yeah,
like, there might be games coming up for Mark Johnstone this season. That's super cool.
That'd be great to see. Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Now, the flip side of the offseason, as much as we're going to congratulate everyone who's moved on to the NHL, they're not the only ones who've moved on. There's no doubt a handful of pretty key Growlers who have been in our locker room a long time, who have moved on to other opportunities in their professional career. Admittedly, this list is a little longer than it's been in other seasons. Moving on this time around, man, Zach O'Brien, Growlers all-time leading everything. Tyler Boland, Brennan Kapchek, he's going to Slovakia. Brett Budgel to Iowa in the American League. O'Brien's going to Slovakia, by the way. Boland to Germany. Darian Plouf's going to Norway. Pavel Gogolev to the KHL. Chris Martinet to Czechia. And even the coaching staff, the entire staff. Nate McKeever, assistant with Belleville in the American League. Eric Wellwood, assistant with the Toronto Marlies. All well-earned promotions, I think you can call all of these for all of these guys. But there is no doubting that this does leave lots of opportunity for change this offseason.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. And I just think it's probably nice for the fans to hear from us internally that we share a lot of the same feelings as them.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a mixed emotions situation. You're happy for guys who are getting bigger, better opportunities, be it coaching staff, be it players. It is quite literally why this team exists. It's a developmental league for everybody.
Yeah.
Front office staff. We've had changes as a result.
Sure have.
Coaches, players, referees. So it's a success story, but it doesn't make it easy to say goodbye to people that you've gotten used to and you've grown relationships with as a fan, as a coworker.
Yeah,
so
and you can't just tell fans, "Oh, it's gonna be okay. You just lost Zach O'Brien, but you'll be fine." I understand. That's KC. That's not an easy pill to swallow.
Yeah, it's hard, like because we've grown to love these guys,
Sure,
and Zach O'Brien, of course, like probably the best player in the ECHL his whole time he was here.
I think you can remove probably.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but one thing, it sucks that they're not going to be back, but I'm happy for them. They're going making that a big raise in money.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's going to help them and their families out. You got to be happy for them, because at the end of the day, they're just guys like me and you.
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
you got to be happy for them, supporting their families.
And for me, I mean, instead of getting there's two ways to approach seeing a giant list of guys that are leaving your team.
Yeah.
You can assume the sky is falling and maybe that the Growlers will be now among the cellar dwellers in the ECHL, but no, that's not how I'm choosing to see this. With me, this is arguably the most exciting offseason in Growlers history. Sure, there are a lot of question marks, but when you have the same backing from the Toronto Maple Leafs and Toronto Marlies that has gotten you to 2 conference finals and a championship in your first 3 playoff runs in the ECHL playoffs, I don't think we have any reason to believe that situation is going to result in any less quality coming down from the American Hockey League. And again, I think us behind the curtains a little bit don't have any access to any additional information, but we've seen things go for so long in such a way that I think it's a little easier for us to be like, no, get excited. It's tough to get across, but I think you can trust us when we say, like, I think there's more reason to be excited now than maybe for any offseason we've had.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, we might have a bit of a notice to the general public on like what the team looks like, but we're not like gatekeeping roster information from you. It's, we find out about it as it happens. It's a process. That's part of the affiliation where, they have to go through this development camp that we talked about and go through the summer. It's a long process.
It is.
And they have to assess where the players land at the end of the day. That's how it works.
It's not like the NHL where, free agency opens and the signing straight away because, where we're a developmental league, like we're getting people like that sign with the Marlies potentially might be falling back down to us, like, as we seen last year with Solo and Miller
yeah.
and all
Quite a
those
few,
guys.
yeah.
And we'll get to some news on that front too.
But yeah, it's just there's no need to hit the panic button right away
No.
because, like Ballard said, we're with the Marlies Maple Leafs organization. They always have good prospects, and
Yeah. What reason have they given us to doubt that this will not again be a competitive team in this league? I've seen nothing. So with that, let's look at some of the players that they have brought in. So to date, no Growlers ECHL signings to report of yet. Qualifying offers have gone out, but that's a relatively low number for Growler fans because we have been blessed with high-end American League talent for the last few years. Back in the system with the Marlies, and many Growler names in here. Keenan Suthers back with the Marlies, Matt Hellickson, Tommy Miller, Matteo Pietranero, Zach Solo, and Marley mainstays Logan Shaw and Joseph Blandisi. Free agency has begun, and the Marlies have locked in that core. Of that group, I think a lot of those former Growlers are probably going to be former Growlers. I think a lot of these guys have earned that opportunity to at least become part-time, if not full-time American Leaguers. You think that's fair to say?
I think that's fair. I mean, even some of those guys you mentioned ended up spending the majority of their year in Toronto.
Yeah.
Mateo Alba graduated.
Yep.
Tommy, we were very fortunate to get him back the way he'd played at that level. And then a couple guys might be, a little bit of a hybrid situation, which we would be grateful for, obviously.
I think like Keenan Suthers, like he was with us pretty much the whole season, but I think towards the end of it and in the playoffs, he really burst out of his shell.
Absolutely.
And he was playing unreal.
And the Marlies love those big project guys. They had Justin Brazo last season, Curtis Douglas. So they don't mind having a big guy project. And Keenan, I don't think I've ever seen a big guy move quite like him. He skates like an American leaguer. So he's one I would maybe nominate for full-time promotion.
For sure. Yeah, I agree.
Now, that being said, after that group, another group an hour before we started filming here today, another group of Marlies signees. Before we even get into the names, again, I mean, myself having been around kind of the ECHL for a long time, you learn kind of, especially with the Growlers, what pocket of signings are probably destined for the Growlers. And with no disrespect to these players, not saying they're not good enough to play in the American League, this group is the group I expect that could make up the core of this Growlers Marlies contingent. That group this season consists of, and I'm going to do this very quickly, Jackson Berezowski, the Everett Silvertips all-time franchise leader in goals. Sounds like a high-end guy. Brock Caulfield. You might not know Brock, but you might know his brother Cole, who plays for the Montreal Canadiens. Neil Shea was a conference all-star in the NCAA this season and played 6 games in the American League last year with the Chicago Wolves. And his brother, you may know from the ECHL, is Pat Shea, who played a bit with Maine. Good player. Tate Singleton from the Ohio State University. Tyler Weiss, who was a 4th-round pick of the Avalanche in 2018, played with the U.S. National Team Development Program. That's always a good program to play in if you're an American player. And Nolan Dillingham, former captain of the Sarnia Sting. He won the Mickey Renault Captain's Trophy Leadership Award in the OHL this season. That seems like a good character group to me, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would say, like we said, this exercise of projecting what a roster looks like is something we do internally ourselves, me and Chris. So this is kind of step one in that process where we make our spreadsheet roster and start to fill holes. Yes, it is fun. If you look at the summer 22 version of this, where the Marlies signed a batch of NCAA guys and a couple of overage juniors.
Nolan Walker,
correct.
Zach Solo. If you look at the time of year and dating all the way back to our first season when you guys weren't even around, that same pattern had followed. So this is us not having any eyes on these guys to say, oh no, they're not American League player. I don't want to give the wrong idea that. No, but it's just knowing what we do based on a few years. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is educated speculation, no doubt. I like that.
What I would say to that point too is somebody not being a mainstay for the Marlies is not indicative of them not being an AHL quality player, because it's a unique setup. I would say they've got some guys who could probably land in NHL markets, but are willing to play with the Marlies and be a part of that kind of 3-tier system. So again, we don't know where these guys are going to land.
No,
but
this is just what the offseason gives us.
This is where the breadcrumbs, you can start to kind of plug and pull names, and because we haven't signed ECHL guys, I understand it can be a little unsettling, but I don't know, and I'm willing to have somebody dunk on me for this if down the road I'm wrong. But to me, that implies we have a good chance of getting some AHL contracts.
That's how
down
I see
here.
it. The longer we go without signing any ECHL guys, maybe the better that is in terms of the overall depth and quality that we could have. But again, all we have right now is this speculation, and it is fun.
I like it.
As reckless as it may be,
Correct,
it is a lot of fun, and we hope you guys are having some fun here with us. Again, as we ramp into, we kind of glazed over it, the 5th anniversary season. I think we can finally turn the calendar page and say that we're in it right now. I mean, unreal 5 years when you think about the championship and COVID, and then 2 more stints in the conference finals. Let me ask you, I guess, what's your favorite moment of the first 4 years as we head into this anniversary season? What memories maybe for you guys are you taking with you as we celebrate and reflect on the first 5?
Yeah, I guess first of all, it feels like 50, not
Correct.
5.
Correct.
For the first half of that, I would have been, I guess, a fan, and now in the back half, being an employee here, it's 2 different perspectives, both
Very much so.
both enjoyable for different reasons. But I do remember the Kelly Cup run fondly as a fan. It's obviously, I'm grateful to do this for a living, but to be able to just turn your brain off and watch some really, really entertaining hockey, that probably remains the crown jewel for now. But
it's kind of a loaded question anyway.
No,
but
but going into a 5th year with the new coaching staff and a very new roster is kind of fitting.
Yeah.
It feels like a Growlers 3.0 a little bit to me, which is exciting for us anyways. I hope the fans after today, if you start to share that sentiment with a little bit of reassurance.
No, I agree. Casey?
Yeah, well, that's like Brady. I was a fan for the first 2 or 3 years of the Growlers, and now working here, obviously, is the best job in the world. I can't debate that.
Yeah.
But like we said, the Kelly Cup run, it's hard to debate that.
No,
but
for sure.
My personal favorite moment, just where I've been involved in, it had to be that Jonny Tychonick goal that we just talked about.
Yeah.
Like the
Legit.
build, I've never heard the building that loud before in my life. And if we can do that again next year, it's lights out for everybody else that comes here.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Well, maybe the better question I could have asked is, what are you maybe looking forward to most as we head into our 5th anniversary season? Because we have a lot of new teams coming here for the first time. We're not, what I would say, maybe overplaying our divisional rivals. It's not like we have 24 home games against Trois-Rivières. Not that would be great. But I really like the schedule as it sets up for a year of hockey, and the fact that coincides with our 5th anniversary season is just, it's icing on the cake. But which teams are you guys maybe looking forward to seeing the most come through here? There's some new ones for our fans.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably Idaho for me.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, it's nice to get different teams. Rivalries are fun.
Oh, yeah.
When they occur organically, right?
And they will remain fun, but now we have
100%.
extra fun.
Yeah, I just think, like, going back to the 21-22 season when Cincinnati came through town, as far as like standalone, like regular season homestands go,
Best games we've seen in this
It's
building.
one of the best homestands we've ever had.
Yeah.
a quality team and a team we don't see a lot, and that's kind of Idaho fits that bill as well. And they just had a historic season.
Yeah.
So, to get them to come through town, I think
Good
that'll be
barometer.
a good weekend to be at the Mary Brown Center.
For me, I think it's got to be Kalamazoo. I think they're new.
It's just fun to say.
They just
a real
got
place.
affiliated with Vancouver, so
That's right.
you never know what that roster's going to look like now. I think the series we played against them last year on the road were very good to watch. I think
We were.
them coming to town with an affiliate on their back, I think it's going to be a good series to watch.
I think so. So just for those of you tuning in at home, the new teams coming in this year, I did make a list. The South Carolina Stingrays, always a good team.
Yep.
The Utah Grizzlies are coming an awful long way to play some hockey here in the East Coast. The Indy Fuel, that's Chicago's affiliate. The Greenville Swamp Rabbits, who maybe have the second best logo in the ECHL behind our beautiful dog face. The Kalamazoo Wings, who are one of the older teams in the EC. They've been around a long time, is what I mean.
Just a fun word.
Yeah, that in Kalamazoo. It's great.
Yep.
And who else? The Idaho Steelheads, who I'm with you. I'm curious to see, season to season, how good they are, how good the Growlers are, and what that match. Plus, the Growlers actually traveled to Idaho as well. And
long
a
haul.
nice shout out to Glenn Stanford, who used to run the Idaho Steelheads. I think he'll make his way onto the plane for that one as well, and that'll be that much more interesting when they come here.
Agreed.
As well. Lots lots of time left in the off season, though. There's
Yeah.
still so much. We're not going to get into predictions or anything else like that at this point. This is halfway through July, and this is what we've got here. Have we missed anything?
I don't think. I mean, like we said, we'll be hiring a new coach. We will be
Yes.
signing players. We promise. I swear.
Yes. And as far as I know, if it is to be status quo as it was last time around, it will be the Leafs/Marlies signing our coaching staff.
Right.
So it's not, don't ask us. We won't know, but that will be communicated, obviously. And I'm sure that search is underway.
Yeah.
Or has already been underway
Can
for quite some
confirm.
time. No, it's really exciting. A lot of new, and don't forget, new does not equal bad.
Correct.
Yeah.
Different does not equal bad. I find it really exciting. But hey, we still have a few months of off season to go here first. Let's not get too carried away, but we will be back, I think, with a few more episodes of the Doghouse as we have more things to talk about. I think mini packs are on sale, or tickets of some kind are on sale. Get your season tickets for the upcoming season.
Yep.
Lots of fun stuff in the works for the 5th anniversary season to want to be a part of. nlgrowlers.com/tickets.
Yep.
I think that's it.
That's it for me.
That's it.
On behalf of KC and Brady, I'm Chris. Stay safe. We'll see you soon.